Hey up, Iron Horse Weekly episode 50 is upon us. This week I'm looking at a little kit from a firm called ADT. How did I get on building that? Little paper cardboard kit. Is it able to take on Metcalf? Before I look at that, I'm going to show you some updates on the layout. So a few weeks ago you saw me put this shelving up. Have a little bit of a closer look at these. Are the brackets for it, and the idea is they just slot in to different heights and what have you. And the idea is I better have 1 shelf, 2 shelf, 3 shelf, and 4 shelf. And I've fixed them in with wall plugs, and they're really solid and they're pretty straight as well. I managed to get it vertical, so just about. This is the second load of shelving I've got. This is just plywood. I've only got this on there as a space filler, if you will. And you see the layout below it is the current one. That is the little heritage railway I've got. So a second layout will sit above it, and it'll be on beams like on this one down here. I'm not sure whether to have a base shelf for the layouts to sit on, or if I should just rest it across the brackets like I have done with these, because it's stable enough. I mean, it's fine, it's stable enough as it is. And if I do that, that means I can get to the undersides and mess about with wiring and things. The idea is as well that on the underside of each layout there will be some LED lighting, which obviously we'll need to plug in and unplug, because when I move them, because this will be, they'll be movable, so I can move that layout up there, or put that layout up at the top for storage, take another one out, put it down there or on there. So these two will be the main layouts. I can run that one, run that one. I need to think about a power option down here for running the LEDs under the layouts. It's easy enough to do really, because you can get some really affordable LED lighting strips these days. But I just need to make sure that when I move them, I unplug from the main sets of wires. Easy enough to do. I'm sure I can sort that out. But anyway, let's have a look and see what that little kit's like, shall we? Right then. I've been sent this kit from a firm called ATD Models. Now, these guys didn't send me this kit. I was actually given it by somebody else who said, and I quote, "You're the man for the job." So, I'm going to put it together. Now, I've had a little bit of experience putting kits together like this. This is what you might call a card kit. Metcalf, probably the leading name on the market for things like that. Of course, you've got people like Scale Scenes who do really simplified printout at home ones. I've even made my own using similar techniques. This is an older example of just designing it on a piece of software called Inkscape. There's a chap on YouTube called Chandwell, and he does his own scratch builds in card and what have you. But what if you can't be asked? But what if you can't be bothered designing your own model? Because it does take a long time, sometimes a full day, if not longer, just to design it. This is where people like ATD come in and what have you. Now, you get the kit. This is just a boiler house, is this one, but they've got a few different ones available, different scales and what have you. You can also buy watercolour kits. This is a little tin, and it's filled with a little selection of watercolours, brick colours and what have you. You get a little brush in there, put water in there, and what you can do with this is just colour the edges of any card that you might have. That's white. It just makes them a little bit less obvious, if you know what I mean. These are on the website, you get these ones as well. And they also get off of these little tiny miniature clothes pegs for holding the model together. I don't think we're going to need these though, because as always I'm going to use the Rocket Cargo, but I've been using this stuff for years. It's absolutely spot on. So without any further ado and messing about, let's get cracked on with this kit. Let's see what we get inside it, shall we? So we've got what I suppose what you call your main bits and pieces. That is probably the chimney. Yes, the chimney. You've got your clear glazing. It's just printed onto acetate, but it's a simple technique and it works. I've used it myself before. going to keep this to one side because we don't want this glazing getting dirty and mucked up with all kinds of stuff, so I'll just pop it behind me for now so it's nice and safe out the road. We've got another main bit of the structure there, some doors. It looks like we've actually got interiors and exteriors as well. This is printed on both sides, that's really clever. There's no relief on this, it's just, you know, basic printing, but it's actually really, really good. Card's quite thin though. We'll have to see how it holds up in terms of rigidity. Let's have a look what I've got here. So, this appears to be my main, I suppose what you call your main frame, if you will. Most of that is already coming free from the card there. This bottom bit isn't though. A bit of a bend, and it should just come out. It says you're supposed to cut it. Let's have a little go with this. Should probably use my ruler for this, so I'll get the cuts all straight rather than wonky. Anyway, we'll get this cut out. Oh. A bit of a chop in there, make it easy to work with. But the pre-cut lines are pretty good, and you don't have to worry about being too neat with them. There we go. Cut down there. So we're just going to fast forward now through the process of building this little boil house, and I have to say that there was several times during the build where I came across probably what I would describe as unnecessary difficulties. As you can see, the cards are very thin, and there's a lot of cutting involved in terms of, you know, scissor action and what have you. And I think when you consider the price of these kits, this particular one was around the £13 mark. There's a lot of work involved with it, and the scope for error increases with the more you give to people like me, I suppose. I'm not the neatest modeller in the world, but I'm certainly not the worst. I've built Metcalf kits before, no issue with those, but this one just seemed to be a little bit more wonky than the other ones were. But the kit does come with a represented interior as well as exterior, and once you put these backing pieces onto the exterior pieces, it ends up making the model a little bit thicker, and you've just got enough room when you fold the model there to get it together fairly straight and what have you. Also, I originally thought, as you'll see later on there, using the rocket car glue is always a big help in making paper kits. It just gets things together a lot quicker than you'd have to with super glue, and then you have to have clamps and things, and or even with PVA it works, but you've got a lot of drying time, and it does increase the entire build time as well. Again, this is the drawback with thin card kits like this, the whole print it out at home type thing, stick it together. In theory it's a fantastic idea, but unless you've built the model yourself in terms of the design phase, you're often left wondering how to get it to work best. And I did actually cut a glue tab off from the main body, so I make my own glue tabs with a little bit of spare card, and that got the main body sorted out. But unfortunately, after quite a bit of time of trying to cut little fiddler bits out, like on the roof there or one of you, I found out that the chimney stack wasn't actually straight, and I'm looking at the instructions there trying to figure it out, see if I've put something in the wrong place or the wrong way around or whatever, and it actually wasn't. It's supposed to be square, and if you look at the instructions, it's supposed to be square, and it's represented as such in the instructions, but it's actually more like a, I forget the term for this shape, it's more like a trapezoid, if you will, where it's wider at the bottom. If it was like a square, but the bottom sides are wider, like a triangle with a flat top, if you will. And as you see later on, this increased the difficulty I had with getting the roof to stay on, which just isn't fantastic, especially when you think about how much this model cost. And I'm back and forth with instructions all the time, trying to ascertain as to where I've messed up, but I genuinely don't think that I did. Which at this stage, I decided to give up on the interior and just try and get the roof on as best I could. I actually took my scissors to the roof as well and had to cut it to match the shape of the chimney stack there. It still wasn't perfect though, and my frustration level was increasing by the minute. So unfortunately, I ended up with this model being a did not finish. So let's jump back in now and hear my final thoughts of the build. The roof just isn't... Either the roof's the wrong shape or the chimney's the wrong shape. Which is it? You know. Either the roof's wrong shape or chimney's wrong shape. Somewhat on now, isn't it? You know what I mean? That is near enough on. Right, let's get a little bit of glue on it. So I've had to chop the roof to make it fit the chimney. Brilliant. Not going to bother with the interior because you can't see it anyway really. All those little pestle bits here. So I'll openly admit that I cut the glue tab off, that's fine, but a glue tab's only a glue tab. Right, okay. Bending that like that. Supposed to bend all this, are we? I would have thought so. We've got some bend marks, so let's bend it where it's bent. All these bend points here, you can't really, you know, bend them all individually, which is a little bit, a lot actually, a lot fiddly. Oh, you mean to tell me that I've got, are you actually serious? So I've got to bend these up here like that? Yeah, I'm not even bothering about the finishing. Not for me. I built that myself, so I'm not put a card kit together. This is just, yeah. Right then, so as you can tell from that video, not exactly overly impressed with the offerings from ADT. That building, that boiler house, this thing here with serial packet card costs about 13 quid in that area. This is a Metcalf low relief house which I built myself a while ago, and the difference in quality is just not. Look at the thickness on the cardboard of the Metcalf unit. Now I put the people in there obviously, so but you can see the difference in thickness on the cardboard straight away. Look at it. I had to cut all that out. I had to cut this one out. It's a recipe for disaster. This thing was all really pre-cut nicely, and it pretty much just fell out or pushed out of the cardboard sprue, I suppose you'd call it. Brilliant. I added a little drain pipe to it. There's no contest really. If you want a decent card kit, just buy a Metcalf one. The other options out there, in my opinion, just aren't worth the effort and time to put in for this. You're not even saving any money. You're not even saving any money on this. That was 13 quid, that was 13 quid. Even the quality of the printing on the glazing, look at all that's printed. All that detail there on the glass is just printed on. Even that's better quality than this. Every little last bit of it is better, and I just can't fathom why. I mean, look at the state of that. That is not square, and I've used the glue tabs on that bit. I know I didn't at first on the main body, and that's up to me. But no matter which way you bend it, it will not square up. You cannot, without seriously deforming the car. I mean, I'm having to push it in from all different types. I have to cut the roof down just to make it fit, and it's just not worth it for me. So guys, I would just say avoid and buy a Metcalf one. If nothing else, you're getting more cardboard for your money. So ranting over, what do you think? A card kit's worth it in this day and age? Are you the sort of person that goes for a Metcalf pre-built resin building, really nice detail? I've even got one of them on my own layout, so I do use them. Do you like to make your own buildings like the chap over at Chandwell? Michael makes some fantastic bits and pieces, and like myself, started from scratch, and I had much better results making, designing, building my own house, because at least it was straight. So, what's your opinions? What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. So until next week, folks, be good, and I'll see you all later on. Ta-da now. Bye bye.